For a century, cinema relied on a mechanical foundation. A projector operated in a sealed booth, casting light onto a static surface. This setup dictated the audience's experience. You sat in total darkness, detached from the fictional world, observing a story that had no awareness of you. In the 21st century, everyday life migrated to laptops and smartphones, and a new cinematic form emerged to follow it: Screenlife. Here, the entire narrative is confined to a digital screen. Director Timur Bekmambetov developed a framework that turned the digital interface from a mere prop into the actual cinematic space. Screenlife establishes a new grammar for the screen. It replaces traditional camera movement and physical sets with the operational logic of the operating system. This shift destroys the classical model of the invisible spectator. By moving the story onto the devices we use every day, Screenlife transforms viewers from passive witnesses into operational components of a surveillance machine. Film theorist Christian Metz defined the classical movie-going experience as cinematic voyeurism. Traditional films use continuity editing and controlled framing to insulate the viewer from the events on screen. This diagram illustrates Metz's theory. Notice the unidirectional flow. You remain a concealed, unacknowledged observer with zero psychological risk. Screenlife disrupts that. Because narratives unfold through webcams, characters look directly into the lens. This creates a reciprocal gaze. The act of looking is mutually acknowledged. Screenlife structurally eliminates the fourth wall. Because the character addresses the camera lens directly, the spectator's viewpoint is fused with the device's own eye. Instead of simply watching a screen, you experience the unsettling sensation that the screen is simultaneously watching you. You lose the luxury of passivity. Your visual perspective is locked to the technological system itself. When narratives incorporate biometric scans or AI evaluations, the software actively demands that you, occupying the perspective of the user, look back into the camera. This destroys the moral insulation of classical cinema. Observation now carries narrative consequences. By removing the safety of the dark theater, Screenlife forces the audience out of voyeurism and into a state of exposed participation. Vikramaditya Motwani's 2024 film, CTRL, provides a masterclass in mapping traditional film grammar onto digital interfaces. The film operates on a strict rule known as diegetic cinematography. Every image on screen has a believable, in-world technological source. The external physical camera is abolished. Framing is dictated strictly by the hardware limitations of webcams, smartphones, and CCTV networks. To create a traditional cinematic close-up, the film relies on the restrictive framing of a laptop's built-in webcam during a stressful conversation. The classic shot-reverse shot is executed by arranging a standard video conference call into a simultaneous split-screen layout. Suspense is generated through digital micro-behaviors. The slow, jerky movement of a mouse cursor toward a delete button creates tension that traditional editing cannot replicate. Audio design reinforces this purely through interface alerts. Typing indicators, incoming call rings, and system notifications replace the emotional cues of a traditional score. Traditional montage rhythm is replaced by the rapid opening of multiplying browser tabs and the dragging of windows across a desktop. You are forced to scan dense interfaces, evaluating timelines and digital evidence alongside the protagonist. Lighting is motivated strictly by the realistic glow of digital monitors reflecting on characters' faces. The user's digital behavior, clicking, scrolling, and deleting, becomes the cinematography. Diegetic cinematography transforms passive viewing into an active cognitive puzzle, forcing the spectator to adopt the operational logic of a computer. While CTRL focuses on personal digital identity, the 2026 film Mercy applies this interactive framework to institutional algorithmic justice. Mercy imagines a judicial system where an AI judge processes municipal surveillance data to determine life or death within 90 minutes. On the surface, the film presents a cautionary narrative against delegating legal authority to automated systems. To understand the mechanism at play, we look to Michel Foucault's concept of the panopticon, a system of control where subjects internalize surveillance because they might always be watched. This diagram shows how Foucault's theory maps perfectly onto the Screenlife interface. The audience shares the same digital tools as the AI judge. Placed in the central guard tower, you must actively use intrusive surveillance, scrutinizing camera feeds and violating digital privacy to extract evidence. By forcing you to evaluate guilt through fragmented data, the film turns the spectator into a collaborator. The narrative resolution exposes this flaw. The protagonist is saved, but the overarching surveillance infrastructure remains intact. Structural critique is abandoned. The problem is framed as a temporary malfunction, implying the machine simply needs to be made more efficient. The audience leaves the film debating the accuracy of the surveillance, rather than questioning its right to exist. This is the paradox of the techno-thriller, relying on the aesthetic of control to critique control. Participation in the film's digital ecosystem becomes indistinguishable from real-world complicity. Instead of dismantling the digital panopticon, these narratives train audiences to feel comfortable operating within it. Contemporary digital culture has redefined the function of sight. In an environment governed by sensors and facial recognition, vision acts as a continuous trigger for data production. In a world of smart devices and algorithmic monitoring, every act of looking simultaneously produces actionable data. Vision is no longer passive perception, it is continuous digital participation. Screenlife cinema mirrors this condition by embedding the viewer within an inescapable technological network from the first frame. The screen functions as an extraction mechanism. It incorporates the viewer into its operational system, recording their visual engagement as a form of participation. In contemporary digital culture, the basic human act of looking continuously produces commodified behavioral data. Screenlife's most unsettling achievement is not depicting an AI dystopia, but persuading us to willingly inhabit and accept its logic.